Today's question is, why do you share photos on social media? Why do you put yourself out there? Why do you take the things that you think are beautiful and the things that matter and put them onto a platform like Instagram or Facebook or Mastodon? Why do we do this? What is it that we are looking to get back from that process? When I first started with Instagram, I literally just wanted to find people to share my photos with, to have a connection with, and to look at what they're doing. But today, Instagram doesn't feel like the Instagram that I started with. It feels like a lot of shouting. It feels like you have to put out videos and you've got to have audio with everything and music, and it's a shouty, flashy, things are moving kind of space instead of that calm little quiet corner of the internet just to share some photos. In fact, I don't even think photographers are really welcome on Instagram anymore. The algorithm is not going to promote you for just posting something that you think is really great photography, because it's not about photography. It's about the algorithm and making money for Zuckerberg. That's what the algorithm is doing. And it's not about photography. And I feel dirty putting my content onto Instagram, because all I'm really doing is I'm creating content for them to run ads. It's a question of scale, and think about how much photography and image and videos and stuff gets pumped into Instagram every single day. It's like a sewage drain. It's like a sewage drain coursing with crap, and you're just dropping your photography into the top of this running liquid sewage, and it sits on the top of the sewage for a couple of seconds and then gone. It sinks underneath and it's never seen again. The lifespan of something on Instagram is nothing. And I don't find that satisfying. I don't find that makes me want to share something knowing that it's just gone straight away. Because to me, photography is a conversation. It's about, I'm putting up a photo, I'm showing you a perspective or a thought or an idea. I want that image to start a conversation. I want dialogue from that. And the meaning of the image changes depending on who's watching it. And that's what makes it special. So when you take an image from 100 years ago and you show it now and you have a conversation, it's a different conversation to the person who took that photo 100 years ago. When you put it into a different context, you get a different conversation. And that's what's really special about photography. It's not just the moment in the image, it's the conversations that it creates and that come around it. You would think social media would facilitate that conversation. And I think when social media started, when you'd post something to Facebook and people would comment and such, that was great. But now when I post something to Facebook, they just want me to buy ads or to spend money to boost it. They want me to pay money so you can see my photos. That's the short version. The community sense, the engagement, the genuine connection, the story that comes out of that photo, that doesn't matter, because what matters is sending money to this corporation. And that's one of the things that makes Mastodon so very important. And when I say Mastodon, what we're really saying is the Fediverse. And if you don't know that term, it's all these little different servers that can talk to each other. It's social media, but without the algorithm. There are no ads. There are no algorithms. You can have communities across different servers. And that means when you share a photo, it simply turns up in someone's feed, not because of an algorithm, not because it's been paid for. You're putting out the photo so people can see it and share it, and it becomes part of their day. It could be just when the cockatoos land on the balcony. I've been sharing lots of photos of that. I've kind of almost stopped sharing photos from my actual cameras. I'm just enjoying taking a photo on my phone when I walk down the street, when I go to lunch, when the cockies come and land and want some walnuts. I'm enjoying that. There's a certain number of people out there who are enjoying it too. And I think that's what we wanted from social media. We wanted that sense of community, that you can see what's going on in your neighborhood and you can see the people who you have a connection with. You can see what they're doing and you maintain those connections even though you're not in the same physical space. Social media promised us community in the virtual space. And what's happened is that's been hijacked. Any centralized social media space. And Blue Sky's the same. I had a look at Blue Sky and it was terrifying. And just the loudness of it and the ego, and it's not my space. It's not where I want to be. When I got off Twitter, it was a really good thing for me. It actually made me a much healthier person because Twitter was very bad for me. And I can see that Blue Sky is just doing all the same things. Blue Sky today is Twitter from yesterday. And there's something about being popular. There's something about the louder the voice that changes the way the conversation works. And having a one-to-one conversation is something that I think we undervalue. Because before social media, I used to just walk around to a friend's house and have a cup of tea. And it was just a one-to-one conversation. The Fediverse feels a lot more like the social media that I want. It's not perfect. There are issues. There's still spammy accounts that steal your photos and post junk just for the sake of garnering clicks or trying to. Just doesn't work as well in the Fediverse. And it's easy to block them. You know, you block a couple of those or you block the people who keep sharing those. You have control. You don't have to rely on someone else deciding that for you. And I think that's what's really beautiful. But that's more focused on how do you keep the garbage out of your feed. And really, I want to focus on the positive aspects, on how do you find the like-minded souls? How do you find the community? What does a community look like? When I first got onto the Fediverse and I met a bunch of photographers, and some of them were very serious about it and some of them were just having fun, and there was a shared joy. There was a joy in the craft of photography. It didn't matter if you were a short, balding, fat, middle-aged man that society no longer has a place for. That's fine. You can still share a photo. You can still have a conversation with people there. And it just felt like a community. It felt like that shared interest. Having had a chance to connect with people through the Fediverse, and I know that there's a whole bunch of people I haven't met and that maybe I'll never going to get to meet. Maybe they didn't like something I posted to YouTube, or maybe because I'm white, middle-aged male, I am just irrelevant to them. And that's just how it is. But there are people out there who I wouldn't have met any other way. The act of sharing photos on Mastodon is so different to the big social media because you're sharing it with a very small audience. And you know it's going to be a small audience. You know that that image is not going to go viral. You know that maybe a lot of people who would like to see it just aren't going to get to see it. Maybe they're not on the Fediverse. Maybe they're only on Blue Sky, and you know they're not going to see what I'm posting to my social media account if that's the case. Why do I share photos? Why do I put them out? And it's complicated for me personally because it's my job. I am a professional photographer. I earn all my income through photography. And I want people to see my photos and I want them to like them, not because I want attention, but because I want to make a living. I want people to come on a workshop, or I want them to hire me to do a shoot. I've got to be seen. I've got to be visible, or at least that's how I feel. That's how my brain works. You know, how do people find you when you're a freelancer, right? I don't have a job. I have this life. So it's really important to me that people see my photos. And that's the only reason I still post things to Facebook and Instagram. I actually don't want to post things there. I would like to just cut it off at the knees. I'd like to just disappear from there. But I know that if I do that, then the world will think I no longer exist. And for my work, that's a problem. I can't have the world thinking that I'm no longer available to hire. I still need to work. So I have to at least participate. And yet the fact that my heart isn't in it, it must be really obvious. That must really come across to anyone looking at my Instagram feed. Maybe they can tell that I queue up like a month or two's worth of content and then I just don't go back. My heart just doesn't give a shit about Instagram or Facebook, and I wish they didn't exist. I wish everyone was on the Fediverse instead, because that would make it a better place. That would make it the ideal place where I can see the people that I want to see and talk to them, and they can see what I'm doing. Social media is the driver of pop culture now. Social media is where the masses go. So many people are influenced by social media. Maybe they're just a different kind of person and I just don't belong in that pop culture world. Well, I know I don't belong in that pop culture world. There are very few places I do belong. I get that. And I don't want to belong to everything. I just want to have enough community and enough friends and enough conversation to sustain me. I've learned so much through Mastodon. It's giving me a window into the world to understand how other people think that I just wouldn't have got by staying within the confined spaces of Instagram and Facebook, where culture forms into ruts and everything tips into the same rut. Mastodon expanded my world and continues to do so. My brain is going in a dozen different directions right now, which is the problem that living with this brain, this is what happens all the time, because I'm thinking about how little voices get drowned out, and I'm thinking about the importance of community, and I'm thinking about why is pop culture so popular? Like, what is it that makes it popular? I'm thinking about how much I don't want to be on Facebook, and I loathe that entire communities have been captured by Facebook and can't leave now. And I'm thinking about how important it is to have community. Community that's not your family. Community that's not your work. The importance of having some kind of community. As you get older, this becomes reality, because your friends start disappearing. They start thinning out. They start getting cancer and they pass and they go quiet, or they're no longer part of a particular social group, or you're no longer part of a particular social group, and things change. And as you get older, community is harder to hold on to. It's not just there, and we take for granted the community that we might have now, and it won't necessarily be there tomorrow. So what I really just wanted to explore today, I think what I started with was, why do you share photos? Why do you actually care about putting that photograph onto your social media, onto your Mastodon account? Please tell me you're on Mastodon somewhere. Please come and find me, Ewen at social.ewenbell.com. That's my self-hosted account for the Fediverse. Why do you do it? Why do you share the photos? I do it because it's my lifestyle. It's my lifestyle. It's my living. It's my community. It's my hobby. And it became my hobby because I was terrible at painting and couldn't write. I had no other artistic talents, but you can pick up a camera and you can get started and you can give it a fair old crack. And maybe you're good at it, maybe you're not, but you still have a photograph. If you're bad at playing the violin, you don't have any notes. If you are bad at taking a photograph, you still have the photograph. You still have something to show for it. I don't think you have to be good at being a photographer to enjoy it. I think you have to have something to say. You have to have something to share. That is what makes photography interesting, is why you took the photograph. And, I come back to this point again and again and again. Why you take the photograph is what makes it interesting. It's kind of a loaded question, this why do you share your photos? You're sharing them because you think you have something interesting to say. It could just be, look how pretty my cup of coffee is this morning. And that is a valid reason to post the photo. You are enjoying that little quiet moment when your brain can stop thinking about the client work you haven't done, and instead you're just going to sit there and look at the beautiful frothy top of a really good coffee that you're going to enjoy. And sharing that in a photo. So you're sharing that moment, and that is what's really lovely. For all of the time I spend teaching people about the technical stuff and why use this lens and what this camera can do and how to get the most out of a sensor and different techniques and tools that you can use to drive a camera, for all of that, what really matters is, why did you take the photograph? And the corollary to why you took the photograph is, why do you share the photographs? And by sharing the things that we think are special, we help others to understand that they can be special too, and hopefully brighten their day. It really is as simple as that for me. I want people to enjoy the world we're in and have a better day. Not very complicated. I've rambled a bit today. I'm sorry about that. Can't say it won't happen again, but have a good day out there, and thanks for sticking through. Bye.